two people, they have been killed in Ukraine after an overnight Russian drone attack. Well, joining me live is military lawyer and defence academic Dr Glenn Kolomeitz. Thank you so much for joining us this morning. And we're hearing the Israel-Gaza conflict drawing attention away from Ukraine. But yes, some devastating news coming out of Ukraine. You've been there recently. You talked to a lot of the team there. Talk us through what you know so far.
Janie, I've been reading about this. It appears that Russian forces have killed, I think, three captured Ukrainian paratroopers, so prisoners of war. The footage is fairly clear, I would argue, which is a violation of the law of war, international humanitarian law, and certainly exposes those Russians to charges of war crimes.
And you've also been involved in open source analysis of the impact of the Russia-Ukraine conflict on commercial shipping in the Black Sea, a big story. What are the broader implications of the Houthi attacks on ships in the Red Sea?
Yeah, Janie, the implications are quite global. At the end of the day, we did some work for Lloyd's of London, the shipping underwriters in the Black Sea, and they, of course, underwrite much of the commercial shipping through the Red Sea. Now, the risks that are posed to this shipping without mitigation is likely to make, well, we're seeing evidence, it's making the risk excessively high for underwriters like Lloyd's without risk mitigation. And risk mitigation is provided by military vessels providing security in the Red Sea. So the implications are well beyond the Red Sea. They're global implications, and they then affect commercial, maritime commerce.
Maritime commerce. What about the flow and effects for everyday Australians?
Yeah, that's a good point, Janie. And as I say, it's not these issues aren't just restricted to the Red Sea. The increased cost of vessels having to transit longer distances around the Horn of Africa potentially, rather than going through the shorter distances, and the increased underwriting or insurance costs are felt at the checkout. They flow through to everyday Australians in buying our goods, which have arrived here by sea, which all that can do is just add to the burden at the moment of the cost of living in Australia.
And Australia has refused the US to request to provide a naval vessel to coalition security efforts in the Red Sea. When pressed on this refusal, will it impact the Australian-US strategic relationship for the Minister for Defence, Richard Marles, stated in the US?
Yeah, Janie. Richard Marles' response was that the US is very happy with our provision of a handful of naval officers to the coalition headquarters. But at the end of the day, that's very much a token gesture. What's needed in this coalition effort in the Red Sea is naval vessels, is ships. And whilst the US, I'm sure they were very polite about our contribution. As I say, our contribution is token, and it can't instill confidence in our partner, our strategic partner, the US, and indeed it exposes us to a few issues regarding other threats in our region, such as China seeing that we're unable to provide a vessel to a coalition security operation. So definitely flow-on effects there as well, Janie.
All right, and as we wrap it up, Dr Glenn Kolomeitz, what's your thought on if former President Donald Trump was to become president again? What impact do you think this could have on the situation in Ukraine and also Israel and Gaza?
Johnny, Donald Trump has said quite openly that he would have the war in Ukraine cease on the first day of his presidency. That sounds like a whole lot of bluster. It's very difficult to believe, but I anticipate his very domestic focus in the past would flow on, and I suspect he would shut down aid to Ukraine, US aid to Ukraine. And we're seeing problems with that right now, but I suspect the way he would help end the war is by not giving aid to Ukraine and allowing Russia to essentially win that conflict, which is problematic for not just Ukraine, but for the entire world.
All right, we do have to wrap it up, but always appreciate your time and expertise, Dr Glenn Kolomeitz. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Janie.